What's up, everybody? Here's why giving in one more time is a bad idea. We all have things that we struggle with, and you might not call it addiction, but it's addiction. And you think of addiction maybe as people that are addicted to prescription pain pills, which can happen easier than you want to think, or people that are addicted to like illegal drugs and that kind of thing. But addiction takes all kind of forms, and addiction, like you can be addicted to chocolate cake, and you can be addicted to what you watch on the computer, and you can be addicted to being right, to feeling like you're right all the time, and you could be addicted to all kind of stuff. And so there's probably something in your life that you know you need to quit, because that's true for all of us. But you know you need to quit it. I'll take it even further. You know you need to quit, and you probably want to quit. But even though you know you need to quit and you want to quit, you don't quit, which means there's some other powers at play in this, because if it was just whether you wanted to look at that again, or just whether you wanted to like eat the cake again, or to eat unhealthily, or to abuse food, or to abuse prescription pain pills, or whatever it is, if it came down to just not wanting to do it, you'd have been done a long time ago. And so here's why it's unbelievably dangerous to give in one more time to that thing. And the reason I'm posting this video is because I know there may be somebody, probably is somebody that can have a chance to watch this video, that right now you can get out of that cycle. You can break that cycle. But maybe you're one time away from going to a point where, man, it's just that addiction is gonna become more and more powerful, and it's gonna become stronger and stronger. And maybe that one more time is gonna make it harder, almost to the point that you can't do it. So here's the reason why you shouldn't do it one more time. One is, if you're into science, neurologically, that means your brain, neurologically, every time you give yourself an excuse to do the thing that you don't want to do again, and then you do it, and here's what happens. You get short-term pleasure from that, whatever it is. You get short-term pleasure. And so in your brain, like these chemicals get released that tell you, good job, way to go, way to go. And they were really useful back in the day, because it would have been like, hey, you ran really fast and you didn't get eaten by a lion. Way to go, way to go, way to go. Or hey, you worked all day and you found some berries to eat, so now you're not going to starve to death. Way to go, way to go, way to go. But now we've got so many luxuries and we've got so many extra things that now we take the same chemical like reactions or to the things that we do that were meant to like keep us alive and keep us going, and now we get pleasure from things that we don't need, like porn and like drugs and like food, and so then every time we give into it, it's like our brain gets a chemical release, and here's what your brain tells you: good job. And there's actually new connections in your brain. Your brain, every time you give in, your brain gets rewired a little bit to do it again. And so, like physically, your brain, you have new, I think neuroconnections is the right word, that every time you give into addiction, that you create. So you should not do it again, because you're changing the way your mind works. Every time you give in, every time I give in, every time we give ourselves an excuse to do it one more time, then we do it and it feels good, like momentarily, short term it feels good. Our brains reward us, and our brains sort of get rewired to keep doing that. And so it gets harder and harder and harder and harder. And then even though you may step away from it, when you come back into a situation, a similar situation in life, maybe it's stress or maybe it's the same friends, your brain remembers that last time you were in that situation, and it just picks up on it starts flooding you with, you need this, whatever it is for you. So don't do it again. If you can stop right now, if you can stop whatever your addiction is right now, just don't give into it again. Don't give into it, because every time you do, it rewires your brain. And here's another reason. Here's a spiritual reason. If you don't believe in God, if you're not a Christian, you might have questions about this. And so the first part is enough for you. But like, I'm convinced every time we do something, even though we know it's not good for us and it's not good for our family and it's not good for our community, but we do it and we value the pleasure it gives us in that moment greater than anything else, that's called worship. And when we give our worship to idols, when we give our worship to porn, and when we give our worship to food, and we give our worship to drugs, and we give our worship to whatever the unhealthy habits is that we have in our lives. When we give our worship to it, it's like we make it stronger. And so every time we bow down and we worship at the altar of eating food to like comfort our spirit, and that like we bow down and we worship at the idol of gluttony. And every time we watch porn, we bow down, we worship at the idol of lust. Or every time whatever that thing is for you, you can make that analogy and that connection. And we bow down and worship, and you're so much more than you know. And every time you worship something, it's like you feed it and you make it stronger. So here's my encouragement for you today. It's not that you're going to be perfect, but just be aware. Let's start with being aware that every time we give in to something we know we shouldn't do, and we say yes to it, it changes the physical way that our brain works. And we're actually wiring ourselves to do it again. And you know where it's going to lead. You know where it could lead, worst case scenario. And you don't want to have a brain that is wired to self-destruct you and your family, your career, and the things you care about. And then if you're a follower of Jesus, what you give into, what you treat as your highest value, you worship. And what you worship, you make stronger. So it's time to cut the idols off from your worship. And it's time to say, look, one more time, I'm not going to fall for the lie that one more time won't hurt. Because every time I fall for the lie that one more time won't hurt, and I do it, my brain changes, and my worship goes to things that don't deserve it, and they get more powerful. Guys, addiction is tough, and it's probably something that most definitely is something you don't need to handle by yourself, and you're going to need help. But here's a start. Here's some encouragement. I would encourage you to let somebody in your life know you're struggling with it, and start from there, and just sort of see where God leads you through that, and start with saying, I don't want to fall for it again, and I'm aware that it changes my mind, and it becomes more powerful every time I give in, and I want to bring somebody else in on this secret so that it's no longer a secret. I'm going to put it out in the open a little bit to somebody I can trust. And man, I hope that you're set free from the things that you're addicted to. No matter whether it's stuff that everybody knows about, or whether it's sort of your secret sin, or maybe it's just our culturally accepted sin like gluttony, but it's still abusing our bodies. And man, Jesus died on the cross so we could be set free in every way. Y'all have a great day.